WABC New York, WRCR Haverstraw, and 107.1 WLIR Hampton Bays.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noah Layden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noah
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Thursday, June 25th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Mix of sun and clouds today. Low humidity. It's going to be a beautiful day. High 82. Tonight and overnight, we'll see some showers, low 69. And then Friday, cloudy, high 86. If you are walking out the door with us right now, 62, partly cloudy in Islip out on Long Island. It's 59 and partly cloudy in Hamilton over in New Jersey. And it's 66 and clear right outside our Midtown studios.
This is the Top 5 at 5.
The earth is shaking in a number of places around the world. Former Mayor Adams watches on as his friends are carted away. A family in Queens wants badly to solve a murder mystery. Scammers in Hoboken are stealing thousands of dollars. We'll tell you how. And some workers in the Hudson Valley fight to get a tip jar refilled. All right, let's get into it. 5:04. Let's start with the fact that today is another one of those gridlock alert days. So far, this has not ended up being terrible. Connected all, of course, to the World Cup. This afternoon, Ecuador is going to face off against Germany over in the Meadowlands. So traffic will be impacted here in Midtown Manhattan as the city initiates the shuttle bus corridors. One of them is 42nd Street. There's other streets that'll be closed off as well. So the key is you don't want to be driving in Midtown Manhattan this afternoon between, let's say, 1 and 4 o'clock, and then when the game ends later in the evening. So the match starts at 4 o'clock. The other issue for gridlock alert days is New Jersey Transit. If you are, and you should know this already, but I'll remind you of it, if you are a daily commuter of New Jersey Transit, you won't be able to get into Penn Station this afternoon to go home. It'll only be reserved for ticket holders going to the match. They paid $98, so they get the first dibs on trains out of Penn Station to the stadium this afternoon. If you are a New Jersey Transit rider, likely better off either taking a bus out of the Port Authority or heading over to Hoboken on the path and get a train from there. So it's the same drill you've gone through a couple times already. Hopefully it'll be as smooth as it was the last time. Big story yesterday that we continue to follow. Former and current high-ranking NYPD members are a subject now to this FBI and NYPD corruption investigation. We're slowly getting details about this. Mayor Mamdani talking about this yesterday.
Commissioner Tisch has already shown a real commitment to cracking down on corruption and ensuring that the public servants in the NYPD are held to the highest standards. I'm confident that she will lead us through this process.
Monday morning, authorities were seen at the home of former NYPD Chief Jeffrey Madry, and reports are there are searches involving the chief of Manhattan South. That's James McCarthy. NYPD spokesperson Tariq Shepard. Madry, you might remember, he resigned in 2024 following allegations of sexual misconduct. More on this investigation from News Nation's Nicole Burley.
The NYPD arresting his former chief of staff just this morning. Frank Carone and his brother were taken into custody on corruption and bribery allegations. Carone had previously been investigated in 2024 for the transfer of nearly $2 million from a Brooklyn parish's funds to bank accounts linked to Carone's law firm. This arrest is the latest in a string of corruption cases surrounding the Adams administration over the last year.
Now, I was reading some of this yesterday. None of this looks good for Carone, but innocent until proven guilty. The charges against Carone, latest in a string of corruption allegations leveled at the former mayor's people around him. All the people around him. This the latest one, Carone, yesterday. Of course, as more details on this case come into us, we will pass them on to you. WABC News Time 5:09. Just a wild scene for an Air Canada flight. It left Newark, New Jersey yesterday afternoon. It was heading to Canada when it had to make it an emergency landing at Boston's Logan Airport after the captain, the guy at the controls, suffered a medical episode, had to be removed from the cockpits. Thankfully, there was a co-pilot who took over. Here was one of the flyers who was on board who said he knew something was up when he saw people walking back and forth fast down the aisle.
The plane started swerving violently. Within a few moments, one of the flight attendants entered the cockpit frantically And a few moments later, he was dragging one of the pilots out of the cockpit.
Yeah, so you can imagine you're on this flight and you see the pilot being dragged out of the cockpit. You know, that's not a good sign. Thankfully, there was a lot of people on board who ran to help that pilot, to help him. He was having some sort of seizure.
Yeah, it was really horrifying. Myself and about 4 others worked to get him under control. It was a fairly strenuous 40 minutes of keeping him down.
Yeah, I can imagine. So the plane successfully landed. This was about 2 o'clock yesterday. Ambulances swarming the runway. They brought a stretcher to the cockpit. The pilot was brought from the plane to an ambulance with just minutes, and then he was brought to a downtown Boston hospital, Massachusetts General Hospital. Flyers on board said they were praying that he recovered.
Every thought goes through your mind. You start praying. My boys instantly started praying. So I'm told I was at the front of the plane, but we're just grateful for how it all ended.
Good job done by those people who were aboard the plane. What we're told is the pilot is recovering at that Boston hospital this morning. 5:11. Let's go up to the Bronx. There has been a shooting. I wasn't here yesterday, so I'd have to go look. But I think there's been a shooting every single day in the Bronx for at least 2 weeks now. Every morning I'm telling you about a different shooting. A lot of them happening in the middle of the day. Here's another one. A 50-year-old man expected to recover. He was shot in the leg yesterday afternoon. This is Class in Point. He had gone into a deli to buy a bag of potato chips. He walks out. This is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. There's tons of people on the street right at the corner of Randall and St. Lawrence Avenues. All of a sudden, he comes out of the deli. Bullets fly. He runs back into the deli. He had been shot in the leg, and he's calling on the owner of this deli to help him, saying, I've been shot in the leg. Here's the deli owner.
He walked in. He says, please call the cops and close the store. I thought it was fireworks for a minute.
That deli owner speaking to News 12. Police recovered 3 shell casings on the surrounding corners as detectives searched for evidence. They didn't find a whole lot outside those shell casings.
He's respectful, humble. He's a good guy.
Yeah, so he said he knew this guy. Investigators also were following up reports from neighbors who told police they saw a group of people on scooters racing away from the scene after they heard those bullets fired. No arrests have been made. No motive for that shooting. 5:12. There have been a number of earthquakes around the world over the last 24 hours. Huge ones struck Venezuela yesterday, toppling many buildings. Now, the official death toll they're giving us is below 100, but the thought this could be a whole lot higher. So 700 at least injured in this disaster that is already adding to that nation's severe political and economic turmoil. There have been some good moments. Let's hope there's more of these. There was a rescue in the rubble in Caracas last night. This is what it sounded like. Yeah, so the full scale of the damage from the quakes, one of which was the strongest to hit Venezuela in more than a century, is not immediately clear this morning. We've heard from the president, Delcy Rodriguez, announcing those initial death tolls. But again, she says this number will go a whole lot higher. They haven't been able to even reach some towns and cities near Caracas where they say dozens of buildings have collapsed. Of course, we'll continue to follow that this morning. And then there was a powerful earthquake that struck off Japan's northern coast this morning. The country's meteorological agency says there's no danger, at least for now, of a tsunami.
It had an intensity of upper 6 on the Japanese scale of 0 to 7 in the hardest hit areas. Now, intensity of 6 plus is nearly at the top of the Japanese seismic scale. The JMA says under this intensity, it's almost impossible to remain standing.
Okay, so the mildly shook Tokyo. Other places where they were near the epicenter, they said it shook violently. Right now, there are no reports of injuries or damage, but it is still early. And then you had a earthquake that shook Northern California yesterday morning. This woman owns a Brown store in Willits. That's the epicenter. This is outside of San Francisco.
There's no walking room. This store is a disaster.
According to the Geological Survey, the quake hit with a magnitude 5.6, 7 miles from Willits. It was about 8:10 in the morning. Willits is a city in Mendocino County, which is, it's pretty far away from San Francisco.
It felt like a truck ran into the building.
Yeah.
Well, it was really kind of a single effect. Like, we didn't feel aftershocks, but it did last for a few seconds. We all moved to the doorways, it was pretty exciting.
That was exciting. Okay, this woman runs a deli at the epicenter.
It was a lot bigger than I've ever felt in my lifetime. And it just shook, and it felt like it shook from all directions. Like you're just moving with your house or the earth in a way. Like it really disoriented us.
Okay, so we're not hearing of any severe damage, but that deli owner says, stuff flew off her shelves.
Oh, like our decor, a wine shelf, a lot of drinks and stuff like that.
Yeah, no word so far, thankfully, of any injuries. In a moment, we will head down to Washington, D.C., where the president was hosting the kickoff celebration for the Great American State Fair. This all in celebration of the 250th birthday of America. We'll get to that story in just a moment. But first, 5:15, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. Good morning, Justin Ellick.
Good morning to you, Noam Lydon. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Good to see your face.
It's great to see yours.
How about that? We'll start out here in Detroit. Paul Goldschmidt had 2 home runs. Jason Dominguez hit a go-ahead 2-run shot in the 6th inning off Tariq Skubal, lifting the Yankees to a 4-2 series-winning victory over the Tigers. Ryan Weathers allowed 2 runs, 1 earned, 6 hits, and walked 2, I should say, while striking out 6 in 6 innings. Gary De Los Santos and Fernando Cruz combined for 2 innings of relief, and David Bednar pitched the 9th for his 16th save. Up next for the Yankees, they'll open a 4-game series tonight at the rival Red Sox. Cam Schlittler will get the start against his childhood team in what will be a 7:10 p.m. first pitch from Fenway Park in Boston. Out in Queens, Mets got swept by the Cubs in their day-night doubleheader against Chicago, dropping the first 3 games of a 4-game series to suffer another series loss, losing Game 1 10-3 before falling 10-5 in Game 2. Mets played without Juan Soto. He's got a bad back, but got Francisco Lindor back from the IL in the nightcap. They went 0 for 4. They suffered their 5th straight loss and fell 12 games under 500, good for a new season low. New York was the last 12 under on the final day of the 2023 season. They committed 6 errors in the nightcap, 2 apiece by first baseman Mark Vientos and second baseman Marcus Semien, and 1 each by fellow infielders Lindor, Mark Vientos, and Bo Bichette. They've been outscored 50-19 during their skid. Up next for the Mets, Freddie Peralta will get the start in tonight's series finale against Chicago, with the Mets trying to avoid being swept. First pitch from Queens is scheduled for 7:10 p.m. And we're looking ahead to tonight from Los Angeles, SoFi Stadium. Team USA picking up their group play action against Team Turkey. Again, that's a 10 p.m. start tonight from Los Angeles. And Team USA, of course, 2-0 thus far in group play. Turkey A, if you will, technically.
Is it Turkey or Turkey A?
Oh, it's listed as Turkey A.
I saw that.
I don't know, they throw an I in. They throw an I in there, and then they throw an E on the end.
Yes.
Sometimes they even throw a little accent over the E. I don't understand. Like, what was so bad about Turkey?
I don't know. It was fine when it was just turkey.
Yeah, I mean, nobody was ever really confusing it with the gobble gobble turkey.
No,
right?
Yeah, no, 2 different things. One's a nation, one's something you eat on Thanksgiving.
Okay, great. I think I'm just going to go with turkey from here on out. I mean, come on. How many times am I going to have to say their name again after we play them tonight?
Not.
Right.
Yeah.
The only reason I've been having to say it so much is because we've waited 2 weeks for this game to happen.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyway, look ahead to that tonight. That is your Sports Gnome, and I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 520. Last night, the president hosting the kickoff celebration of the Great American State Fair in D.C. He was speaking from the National Mall, touted the virtues of the U.S., and declared that America is back.
There has never been anything like the United States of America, and together we are making it bigger and better and stronger and far more exceptional than ever before.
The president did turn political, telling the crowd things are much better since he came back in office. People flocked to the mall for an event that featured a series of military flyovers, the U.S. Army and Marine Corps bands, and singer Lee Greenwood, and a gigantic Ferris wheel.
Tonight, as we stand on the edge of our 250th year of independence, I am thrilled to declare that America is back. Those timeless American principles did not just win a revolution, but they built us into the greatest, strongest, and most exceptional nation the world has ever known.
It was billed as a patriotic opening ceremony to launch Freedom 250's first of its kind World Fair. The fair's organizers says all 50 states and the U.S. territories are represented, even with several states led by Democratic governors who said they would initially not take part. And then earlier in the day, the president was defending his decision not to sign the bipartisan housing bill.
I made billions of dollars with housing. I know housing better than anybody, maybe anywhere. It's all about the interest rate. Lower the interest rates, you can have all the housing you want.
The bill, meant to help buyers with the goal of lowering prices, sailed through the House and Senate. It was set to be signed by the president yesterday. He canceled the signing, posting that he won't sign it until the Save America Act voting ID bill gets passed.
What you want to do is what good for everyone, get the interest rates down.
Yeah, and then things got pretty testy during a meeting between some Senate Republicans and the president. It was one of these behind-the-closed-doors meetings on Capitol Hill. The president spoke to reporters afterwards about that meeting.
We like our leader. We like everybody really in the room. I don't like a few people, but that's okay. I think you know who they are.
So Republican Senator Tim Sheehy said things were lively. That's the way he described it. Others said it got kind of nasty.
And Iran is being very nice. They're agreeing to everything that I want, and they have to. Otherwise, we just go back and do what we have to do. Thank you very much.
Reports say the president unhappy at the GOP senators who supported the Iran war powers resolution that passed on Tuesday. And then over at the White House, you had NATO's chief saying that European allies are supporting U.S. efforts in the war with Iran. There was a meeting between the president at the White House and the NATO secretary, and they said that Europe allowed U.S. warplanes to use their airstrips to launch strikes.
4,000 to 5,000 U.S. planes taking off from bases in Europe. In the 6 weeks this war took place.
Those comments coming as the president grows increasingly critical of NATO. After the NATO secretary spoke, the president again expressed his disappointment with the UK, France, Italy, and others over what he sees lack of support with Iran.
Because we were let down. We didn't need help on this at all. We demolished them in literally the first week. But it would have been nice if they would have said, we'd like to help.
5:24. Let's go out to Los Angeles. You know that fire, that warehouse, still on fire this morning. The LA Fire Department says no, it's close. Well, maybe very close to fully extinguishing this stubborn warehouse fire in Boyle Heights. It started last Wednesday. It is a frozen food storage warehouse, so lots of food on fire.
The fire chief has set a goal for us as an incident command system, as an incident here, to get this fire put out today. We're looking really good.
Yeah, so the fire and several flare-ups initially forced some evacuations and shelter-in-place orders. Air quality issues have lingered for the past week.
Still cannot send firefighters in this building. It's incredibly dangerous. And to be quite honest, we're probably never going to send anyone in this building because there's no life hazard right now. We're going to put out the fire from the exterior. This building is very unique. It's not something that we've dealt with in LA City before. It's a very challenging fire.
Yeah, the good news is they say they think they have it almost fully extinguished. 5:25. Let's go overseas. Millions across Europe continue to swelter in this deadly heat wave. Correspondent Daniel Humanian has more.
Scorching temperatures are gripping much of Europe. From Paris to Madrid to London, locals and tourists are scrambling to stay cool, lining up for fans and turning to famous fountains to beat the heat.
So France has had the worst of it. I saw a temperature in France yesterday, 111 degrees. In so many places in Europe, they don't even have air conditioning, so that's an issue as well. They've seen record numbers in Spain, the UK as well.
France suffering through its hottest day since records began in 1947, with one town on Tuesday hitting 112 degrees. The extreme heat here also turning deadly.
Yeah, at least 40 deaths just in France alone. This tourist, his name is Ed Blair. He's from Buffalo. He's, not used to heat. It doesn't get so hot up there. He says Europe has been tough to contend with on what he thought it was just going to be a fun summer vacation.
I feel like all the buildings being made of stone brick, it holds it in, radiates. It's not like New York where you've got newer buildings that are made to not hold this heat.
And especially in a place like the UK, a lot of places, they're not used to heat like that at all. A lot of places do not have AC. 5:26, let's bring it back home. The second largest school district in the nation yesterday passed one of the strictest screen time policies in the country. News Nation's Nicole Burley has more.
The Los Angeles Unified School District passed new rules that include banning devices in the classroom before second grade. Limits for grades 2 through 5 are capped under 3 hours or less per week. Middle schoolers get up to 6 hours a week. High schoolers up to 10 hours. This includes homework done at home that requires a screen, and students will not be issued school laptops.
Yeah, so the district says it'll monitor the new policy with new software that'll allow it to track screen time minutes across devices. Former Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene is walking away now completely from the Republican Party.
In a post on the social media platform X on Wednesday, Greene said she will not support a party that betrays its voters and country.
We voted for an end to foreign wars. They are going to lead us into World War III. Release the Epstein files. Every single name.
Marjorie Trader Greene.
A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries and themselves.
Late last year, Greene had a very public falling out with President Trump, leading to her resignation as the representative for Georgia's 14th congressional district earlier this year. But Greene also pointed out that she's way too conservative to be a Democrat and too honest and free-thinking to be a Republican. I'm Liz Kennedy.
Billboard has picked the greatest R&B band of all time. What do you think that is? We'll tell you in a moment. First, 527, traffic, transit on the 7th. Here's Jill Nolan.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
I might be right.
Okay, just I don't know.
That's what you think. If you were choosing it, Joe Nolan, you were in charge of Billboard. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Okay, yeah. We'll see. You might be right. 532. Joe Nolan was right. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Out of sight. All right, just
They've been crowned the greatest R&B group of all time by Billboard. The group took the top spot out of 50 on the Billboard list. They're followed by The Temptations, Sly and the Family Stone, the Isley Brothers, and the Supremes. The top 10 also features a new addition, really. Boys to Men, the Jackson 5, and Destiny's Child.
It's the 77 WABC News Hour.
Talking the news with Noam Laden.
All the news you need to know with Joe Nolan, traffic, Justin Ellick, sports. And now,
Talking the news with Noam
on 77 WABC.
Yes, that's me. Good morning. It is Thursday, June 25th. Your forecast from the 77 WABC Weather Center. Mix of sun and clouds today. Just a beauty on the way. Low humidity, high 82. Tonight, overnight, we'll see some showers, low 69. And then Friday, cloudy, high 86. If you are walking out the door with us right now, so happy you are, 62 partly cloudy in Islip out on Long Island. It's 59 and partly cloudy in Hamilton over in New Jersey. And it's 66 and clear right outside our Midtown studios. WABC News Time 542. Heartbroken family on Staten Island speaking out, hoping you can help them find the driver who ran into their mother on Father's Day. She is in live but in grave condition. They hit her and kept on driving. The 60-year-old Diana Rowland, she was coming between two cars and going to her car. She was at a garage sale and she was going back to her car to get some money to pay for some item at the garage sale. And as she walked out into the street, she was hit by a BMW.
She was simply standing in front of a double parked car, waiting to cross the street again.
Speeding down the street for no reason, or even if you had a reason, slow down. Life is precious. And you took my sister. You're going to pay. You are going to pay for what you did to my sister.
Yeah. She had crossed Decker Avenue on Sunday afternoon to get to her car, was going to grab this cash, and that's when this BMW that is seen on a nearby home security camera seconds before striking her. And then, I always say, don't drive away, but people always do.
If she was to survive, she was such an angel that I think she would have actually forgiven him.
You go in the classroom, all the kids would get happy, and she was the best what she did.
Yeah, that's her son who's set to graduate from high school. I mean, the story can't get more awful. The Rowland family is confident police will find the driver, but they also want safety measures put in on these blocks right near Decker Avenue that gets people to slow down and speed bumps, that kind of thing.
Slow down, guys. It's not worth it. You're taking away from a lot of people. And I just lost my sister, my best friend.
guys, just slow down. It's not worth it.
Now, GoFundMe page has been set up to help support Diana's recovery. Out to Long Island, where a Nassau County woman who's accused of stabbing a man to death as he slept in his Massapequa home appeared in court yesterday. Friends and family of 28-year-old Robert Carragher, they packed the courtroom yesterday, were emotional as this 22-year-old Kristen Scully faced a judge. Some yelled out, "Rot in jail." Carragher was stabbed in the neck and died in his father's arms, collapsing. Here's his father, who was talking after this hearing yesterday.
The absolute worst nightmare you could think of. Well, just picture anybody. It's the absolute worst nightmare you could think of.
Yeah, so prosecutors say Scully knew Robert Carragher for many years, and in the early morning hours of June 1st, she allegedly got a knife from her purse, plunged a switchblade into his neck as he was in his bed sleeping. The 28-year-old woke up, went upstairs to scream for help, and that's when he died in his father's hands. Here's Scully's lawyer.
It's now a matter of what circumstances caused a 22-year-old, 105-pound woman to take the life of a 28-year-old man.
Yeah, and that 22-year-old's attorney claims that Carragher was her drug supplier and says Scully acted in self-defense.
She gave a statement to the police. It was audiotaped, it was videotaped, in which right away she had indicated that she was being sexually assaulted, that she was given some type of drug, that she felt very loopy, was passing out. She woke up. He was on top of her, trying to abuse her.
Now the 22-year-old, she's due back in court on July 24th. In a moment, we'll head out to Hoboken, where an old scam is new again. We'll get into that in just a moment. But first, 5:45, let's head over to the 77 WABC Sports Desk. And here's Justin Ellick.
Thank you, Noah Malaydon. Start out here on the Diamond in Detroit. But before that, sports is sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com. Find a dealer near you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. Paul Goldschmidt, man, he is just a blast to the past this year. Shades of his years in St. Louis, and even better so his years out in Arizona. 2 more home runs last night for Goldschmidt. Jason Dominguez hit a go-ahead 2-run shot in the 6th inning off Tariq Skubal, lifting the Yankees to a 4-2 series winning victory over the Tigers. Ryan Weathers allowed 2 runs, 1 earned, 6 hits, and walked 2 while striking out 6 in 6 innings of work. Yeri Delos Santos and Fernando Cruz combined for 2 innings of relief, and David Bednar pitched for the 9th for his 16th save. Up next for the Yankees, they'll open a 4-game series tonight at the rival Red Sox. Cam Schlittler will get the start in what will be a 7:10 p.m. first pitch from Fenway Park in Boston. Out in Queens, the Mets got swept by the Cubs in their day-night doubleheader against Chicago, dropping the first 3 games of a 4-game series to suffer another series loss, losing Game 1 10-3 before falling 10-5 in Game 2. They played without Juan Soto in his bad back, but got Francisco Lindor back from the IL in the nightcap. They suffered their 5th straight loss and fell 12 games under 500, good for a new season low. New York was last 12 under on the final day of the 2023 season. They committed 6 errors in the nightcap last night, 2 apiece by first baseman Mark Vientos and second baseman Marcus Semien, and 1 each by fellow infielders Lindor and Bo Bichette. They've been outscored 50-19 during their skid. Up next for the Mets, Freddie Peralta will get the start in tonight's series finale against Chicago, with the Mets trying to avoid being swept. First pitch from Queens is scheduled for 7:10 p.m. And we're looking ahead to tonight out in Los Angeles, SoFi Stadium. Team USA picking up their group play action in the World Cup. 2-0 thus far for the Americans, and they'll go up against 0-2 Turkey tonight at 10. That is your sports, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a dealer near you. Peerless Boilers, the world's best built boilers. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
WABC News Time 5:50. A Queens family still searching for answers over a month after their beloved grandfather, was fatally shot in Casino Park in Queens. You might remember this story. The Itzkowitz family says it has not been the same since 75-year-old Albert Itzkowitz was shot dead in the Flushing Park back on May 18th. He was right along the shoreline. The shooting took place broad daylight. Police say he was shot in the back and the neck, and so far they have no motive for the crime, and they don't have the gunman. Here's the Albert Itzkowitz's son.
He was the sweetest, kindest man and got along with everybody. It's impossible. We can't wrap our heads around this. Somebody came at him and shot him multiple times. This happened in broad daylight in an area that we all assumed was safe.
Albert Itzkowitz was a volunteer with the Jewish Emergency Medical Service, Hatzalah, owned a well-known kosher bakery with his family before it closed.
We're fearing the worst. This could have been a hate crime. No one deserves this. My dad didn't deserve this. And we want to do everything we can to ensure that whoever did this is brought to justice, and my dad gets the justice that he deserves.
As of now, the NYPD has not deemed the case a hate crime. The investigation ongoing. The family will announce today a reward of $20,000 for any information that leads to an arrest in the case. Local leaders, community members will rally around the family this morning at Casino Park in hopes of shedding new light on this murder mystery. As Joe's been warning you, today is one of those gridlock alert days in New York as Ecuador faces Germany in the World Cup in New Jersey this afternoon. That match is 4 o'clock, so usually it's 3 hours before they start to shut down streets here in Midtown, 42nd Street, some others, to get the buses, people, fans out to the stadium. Same holds true for New Jersey Transit, as it has in these past matches, that if you don't have tickets to the match, you won't be able to use New Jersey Transit out of Penn Station during these hours, but most of you know that drill already. And we've been talking with soccer friends. Boy, the fans, even if you haven't watched this World Cup at all, and I've watched the matches, they've been quite fun, but to watch the Norwegian fans, are they a blast with their rowing? They were rowing in, doing this rowing motion in Times Square earlier this week. I saw yesterday they were out at a Cubbies game, the Cubs game, in the bleachers rowing there. They've been fun to watch. The Scottish fans have been incredible as well, as they have drunk some bars dry. Really, like they've gone into bars in certain cities across the country, Boston, down in Miami, and the bars say they actually ran out of alcohol when these Scottish fans were in there. Now, soccer fans, for the most part, say they've had a great time. Some have been caught off guard by the stadium policies at World Cup matches where you need to have a clear bag to go into the stadium.
I think it's really safe. Like, as many shootings as there are, as many problems as there are, even though you might have to buy your own bag, like, it's keeping everyone in the stadium safe.
Honestly, I understand why they do it, but I think they should, release, the restrictions are a little too much.
Now, the fans have been warned about this, but many describe this frantic dash to transfer their belongings to a clear plastic bag once they realize the rules, and then they've had to ditch things like backpacks.
The restrictions in terms of what the dimensions of your bag that you can bring in, I think it's a little too small. So it's they only allowed clutches, so maybe a little bit bigger.
They came around with a folded piece of paper and they said, if it doesn't match the size of the paper, you can't go through. And the paper was it was really, really small, so it shocked me and surprised me.
And of course, everybody's seizing on this. There's people selling the plastic bags, no surprise here, right outside the stadium for $20, knowing that people are going to not realize that they need one of those clear bags to bring items into the stadium. In Argentina, soccer legend Leo Messi, often described as the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And now in Kansas City, where the Argentina team is currently based during the World Cup, a baby Messi is doing the work. A team of goats are being used to clear away vegetation at a development site. And so one of the animals there has been named Messi, and he's actually wearing a little Argentina jersey. Kyle Alvis is the owner of these goats that go in and cut grass instead of lawnmowers.
Baby Messi came about when we showed up with the goats up here. With the World Cup coming in, they all felt that we needed to have a Messi floating around in town.
Yeah, I'd say for the most part, this World Cup has been a lot of fun. A Knicks fan now looking for another job after a viral video may have gotten them fired. During the ticker tape parade last week, a woman was seen dumping trash out of one of the city's blue and orange cans and walking off with it. She wanted it, I guess, as a souvenir after the Knicks won the NBA Finals. Well, that woman, she was identified Angie Baez. The New York Post reports she worked as an executive director of community and industry engagement with J.P. Morgan Chase. She no longer works there. A spokesperson for the bank saw this video where she's seen dumping the trash out of the can and then walking off with it. Not a smart idea when you have a job like that. Meanwhile, the Department of Sanitation also posted on social media late yesterday that the Knicks-themed trash bin was returned by that woman. And we'll end with this story, this old scam that is new again. Hoboken police warning visitors, World Cup visitors, others alike, to stay alert after a series of scams near the waterfront, which everybody rushes to because it has these drop-dead views of Midtown Manhattan. At least 6 people, maybe more, have been targeted over the last couple of weeks by these individuals posing as young people collecting donations for charity. So they say, hey, do you want to give to, my basketball team? And so some people will say, yeah, they do. And they say, well, hand me your phone and I'll type in the name of my organization into Zelle or Venmo or one of those apps. And so you say, I want to give $5. Well, they go in and they take your phone and they put in $500. And so what's happened is people have realized like 10, 15 minutes later when these kids are gone, that instead of giving $1, they've given $50 or $500.
So the way this works, young adults, older teens will approach somebody and say that they're looking for a donation to a charity. This might be for a school. This might be for their sporting event. The kids will ask, can we put the name of the organization in so it's easier? And of course, a victim will, no problem, feel good about donating to young adults. And they'll take the phone and instead of doing $1 or $2, they'll add a few extra zeros.
Yeah, so apparently they've scammed at least 6, but they think it's probably more. Authorities released photos of these 2 people of interest as they continue to investigate the incidents. And police say the best way to avoid becoming a victim is easy.
Just be smart. Don't give your cell phone to anybody.
No, never do that.
Thanks for listening to the News Hour with Noam Laden. You can hear the News Hour with Noam Laden weekday mornings at 5 on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?